Hey, welcome to this episode of The Current, where we're the Daltons. I'm Clint, and she's Sandra.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. We're so glad to have you join us on this day, whatever time you're watching this or you're catching the replay. My husband and I are going to talk about a very, very important topic called healed marriage versus the traumatic marriages. How many know, right, babe? They're out there. They're both out there. And I'm talking about kingdom Christian marriages, right, babe?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
so how do you determine what does that look like? What does a healed marriage look like? What does a traumatic marriage look like? How can you determine whether you are in a traumatic marriage or you're in a healed marriage? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. And so in today's episode, the first part that is so key to building a healthy, strong marriage is communication. The Bible talks about in James chapter 1 and verse 19, let every person, say husband and wife, let every husband and wife be quick to hear, slow to speak, and slow to anger. And so communication is a key to building a healthy marriage. However, we know that in most traumatic marriages, there's a lot of screaming, there's a lot of yelling, there's a lot of, what is that? When you what is that word? You
devalue the person.
Not just verbal abuse.
Yeah.
Verbal abuse. No.
Disrespect.
Disrespectful communication. There's dishonoring communication. That's traumatic, where you don't have a voice. Whether it's a husband or the wife, you don't have a voice.
Right.
Or there's people think that the silent treatment is a healthy tool for healthy. No, that's a form of manipulation. That's a form of unhealthy, unhealed, traumatic marriage. Right, when you give your spouse the silent treatment, that's not cool, right? And so do you want to add anything?
Yeah, communication is vital. Like when we got married, and even my process for marriage was one of my red flags was before I got married to Sandra, or when I was single and doing my thing. If I can't talk to you, I don't want to be with you. I wanted communication.
Sure.
I wanted to have a healthy relationship, a healthy relationship, a best friend. Mm-hmm. No trying. If I wanted Days of Our Lives, I would turn it on TV. I'm just saying, like sands through the hourglass. So are the Days of Our Lives, right? No, I can't have that. So communication is critical.
Yeah.
And it should communication between me and my wife, you and your wife.
That's right.
When you're married.
Right.
The outside world, they shouldn't have a voice.
That's right.
They should not have a voice.
In-laws, brothers, sisters, anybody that is, and singles,
friends,
single friends.
Let me give you I learned this a long time ago. Misery loves company. So if you got to stay away from the man bashers and the women haters. You know what I'm saying? You got to. And marriage,
and they're both out there.
Yes. And marriage is designed by God.
Yeah.
If you're not living a designed by God marriage, you can't communicate. If you can't communicate with the Father, you can't communicate with your spouse.
That's right.
It's intimacy.
Yeah.
Is how this forms. Mm-hmm. And you got to work on a relationship. Newsflash, work.
Yeah, and that's where people miss it. They think when they say I do, the marriage is just going to build itself on its own.
Like a box of Lucky Charms, magically delicious. Nope, not happening.
You have to work at developing great communication skills. And especially like us, we're newlyweds, so we're still learning how to communicate. But one of the things that we agreed upon before we got in our dating is that we're not going to settle for drama. We're not doing drama in this season and in this marriage. We will give each other. My husband always jokes all the time. He said, man, I gave you a voice. Now I can't shut you up.
Well, I don't use the word shut up, but I'm like, can you turn that off of me? Can I take that back?
And so the other scripture is a gentle answer turns away wrath, but harsh words stirs up anger. Listen, you're going to have disagreements. You're not always going to see eye to eye. People think that building a kingdom marriage and a Christian marriage, that you're never going to have arguments. You're never going to have disagreements. You're always going to never have an opinion. You're going to be like a robot, right? No, you're still two individuals who have individual thoughts, individual processing. Like my husband, so we had this conversation just yesterday during lunch. By the way, my husband took me to lunch yesterday. And what an amazing husband. And so during our lunch, I was like, hey, why didn't you speak up? We were in the middle of a ministry decision. And I'm like, why didn't you speak up? Like, why didn't you communicate? Why didn't you open it? He's like, listen, that's not how I communicate. I get quiet so that I can process the information, so that I can come back with an assessment of the situation. And I said, wow, that's smart.
Yeah, I have to go through the process. When I'm going to make a business decision, a marriage decision, a kingdom decision,
come on,
an everyday decision,
sure.
I have to go through the process.
Sure.
I hear the facts
Yeah.
and then make a ruling, kind of like a judge, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I also I don't want to look like an idiot.
Yeah.
Damn, hey, that's really blue, but it's pink over there. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I have to go through the process, and I have to sometimes when she tells me how she's feeling, I might not come back with an apology right away. I might not come back with let me fix it. I sometimes have to process, like, what just happened, Sure. And is she responding and communicating to me out of trauma? Because there's a couple times in the room where she has, she'll admit this. It's kind of funny actually, but she was going off one day and I just started looking around the room and she said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I'm looking for the person you're talking to, because that's not me." You know what I mean? True or not true?
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
So you have to know that, number one, every conversation and every thought and every feeling is not always defense mode.
Right.
It could be just talking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, just real quick, stop trying to be Mr. Fix It and just be Mr. Listen. Sometimes that's all it takes, right? But at the same time, quit being fix it,
Yeah.
You gotta, sometimes the best response is no response. And I don't mean that in a, like silent treatment way. Just let it flow.
Yeah.
Because then the arguments start coming in. The
Sure.
jabs start coming in.
Sure.
What we want to do is be Christ-centered.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to tell each other, I need to pray about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes she tells me, "Clint, you need to pray." Because I do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like what we need to do is just not go into defense mode. We are not in the fourth quarter, 2 seconds left in the game on the line, game on. It's not that serious.
Sure.
It is serious, but it's not, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to get it misconstrued, because
Sure.
my wife has value and meaning and I want her to have a voice, and I want it to be equally, reciprocated.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
And so I just want to add, and before we move on to our next point of healthy marriage versus traumatic marriage, is that, communication is being able to say, one of the things that we've incorporated in our marriage, when we get too worked up or we get too angry, we say, "I need 5. Give me 5 minutes." And so we need to respect those boundaries. We need to respect those verbal communication of our spouse when they say, "Hey, I need 5 minutes because I'm overwhelmed and I don't want to say anything that is going to damage our marriage or hurt. I'm too emotionally worked up right now. I'm too hurt. I'm too disappointed. I'm too angry. I'm too frustrated. And so give me 5. Let me get 5. But before the end of the day, we will reset. We're going away to reset so that we can come back when our emotions, because how many know sometimes you can get emotional? And so in the heat of emotion, in the heat of anger, in the heat of hurt or disappointment, a great communication skill set is saying, "Hey, let's take a time out." It's like almost like in a boxing ring. Hey, the bells ring. Let's go to our corners so we can reset, refresh, and come back. with better understanding and communication so that both of us can be heard and both of us can communicate what the real root of the issue is. And so we pray that, you understand that God desires you to have a healthy, vibrant, strong, thriving marriage, but you can't do that if you have poor, traumatic, triggered communication skill set. You got to get with God.
And it all starts with God first.
Yes, of
course. It all starts with God. God has to be the center and the foundation.
Yes.
And the next one we're going to talk about is companionship. And the Bible verse says, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good reward for their toil. And that's Ecclesiastes 4:9. So, companionship is everything in a marriage. Like, if you don't like your spouse, it's not going to work either. It's just as critical as communication. Yeah. And so you want to know, what are her likes? What are her, what do we do good together? We play pickleball. I won yesterday, by the way, just saying.
Whatever.
But anyway, so no, so it communicates, like she likes pickleball. I like fishing. She likes fine dining. I like sitting at home to eat dinner. So it's a companionship, I give a little, she takes a little, she gives a little, I take a little, and so it's reciprocating in that way too.
In other words, can I add something? Yeah, do not get busy and start neglecting, not with your kids, not with ministry, not with work. And start neglecting your marriage. And when you do, sometimes when we do, we have to communicate, hey, I don't have a problem saying, hey, we have not had a date night in a minute. And it's weekly for me, I'm like, I haven't had a date night. I'm like, we just left that. We had lunch yesterday. Remember, you complimented me on the show that I took you to lunch. Date day. So basically a traumatic a traumatic experience is when one partner withdraws or they don't communicate their needs, and it starts developing a wall of isolation. So you're starting to, that's when you hear people say we're getting divorced because we grew apart. Well, that's because you didn't communicate and you didn't intentionally create opportunities for it to continue to grow your friendship. Sometimes, like yesterday. So yesterday, for example, and it doesn't always have to be spending money. Yesterday, this is just an example. That's something you can do that's on budget. It's if you're on a budget. We had a date yesterday. Yes, he took me to lunch, but then afterwards we went and played pickleball. We came home. I made popcorn. And we sat on the couch and we watched a good movie on Netflix. So we spent $40, $50 on a lunch, but that was the gist of our date yesterday. And so, but we're intentional about continuously creating. Listen, beloveds, your marriage is not going to build itself, and nothing and no one should be a priority besides God above your spouse, not your kids, not your job, not your ministry, not anything should come before. And that's where you see people start developing wedges. And as they say, growing apart because they stopped dating. That's what it is. They stopped doing all of the things that they did in the dating season, getting dressed up. Listen, guys, girls love to get dressed up, do their makeup, and have a date night. They still love to feel
pursued.
Yeah, pursued. Yeah, that's the word. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's just it. Pursue your wife. Even if it's not working out, pursue her. There's a great movie I always loved. It's Fireproof with Kirk Cameron. Yeah, I really liked how how he just pursued her through everything, and no matter how bad it got, he, you saw the process of him pursuing her. Sure. But you also saw the part where he was coming away from self, throwing the computer away and making daily changes and starting to help with the chores and do this thing. Those are things women like. You know what I mean? And when a man or a woman feels disrespected, they will cut it off. They're done. Women do it a lot slower than men do, but it's like almost when you're not in the game, eventually somebody falls off. So and what you want to do is you want to make it interesting. You want to be spontaneous. You want to take the lead, and you want to do some things. And women love it when you take the lead, in the proper way. That testosterone level can bring it down, but enjoy the rest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you're the leader of your home, and so you have to kind of be on guard, man. You have to be on guard, and it's a tool of the devil. But have you ever heard that term? Someone else will. So if you're covering all the bases,
sure,
then that's done. It takes that out. Get with God. Like, get with God. God is the source. God is the answer. God is the reason. You know what I mean?
And the beautiful thing about having a relationship, if you're a Christian or you're new Christian, and you and your spouse are just coming into God, you're newly born Christians, or you've been married in God for years and years, and the beautiful thing about a relationship with Jesus Christ, the Bible talks about, because this is what I'm hearing in my spirit, his mercies are renewed every morning. If you have fallen off in your marriage, if you have fallen away from each other, if you have kind of like grown apart, guess what? You can always grow back together. You have to make the decision. All it requires is two people making the decision. Hey, we have stopped being friends. We have stopped dating each other. We have stopped pursuing each other. We have stopped, and so, you can stop today and turn this thing around and watch God restore your marriage, reconcile your marriage, redeem your marriage. It's never too late when God is at the center of it and two people are willing, because it's going to require two. It's not going to be one. It's going to require the two of you working together to work on building a friendship and a fellowship and a closeness and whatever that takes. And so one of the things that I love about me and my husband regarding companionship is that he works physically and we both work out and we hike. So find things that your spouse loves to do and go do it with them. That's building a companionship, togetherness, a closeness, an intimacy. When they come home from work, listen, even though you don't understand what they're talking about their job, be that place that they can come home and unleash with you. Be their best friend. And so the third thing that we're going to talk about is collaboration. The Bible says, for wherever two or three agree in my name, there I will be with them, in Matthew 18:20. It goes on to say in Proverbs 15:22, plans fail for lack of counsel, but many advisors, they succeed. I want you to know that collaboration is key to building a healthy marriage. You have to reprogram your mind to go from me. If you've been single, like my husband was single for 7 years, I was single for 3 years, and we got into it a few times, or we had moments where it was an argument, and he was saying, I'm adopting or relearning how to be married, even though he was married for 20 years, but he was also single for 7 years. He says, I am relearning to think with the mindset of me to we. I'm learning to think from a perspective of a married husband and no longer from a single mindset. And so if you are going to develop a collaboration, a healthy collaboration, toxic, unhealthy, trauma marriages, it's me, I, we. I mean, me, I. It's all about you. It's all about what your needs are, what your wants are. You never give your spouse space. And then some people, it's not trauma. They just haven't, they're married, but they're still single. Mm-hmm. They're still thinking from a single mindset. Well, when you say I do, you lose the rights to now think for yourself financially, ministerially, careerly, just all those parental. We were just talking about a couple that are struggling, collaborating and collaborating with parenting. You have to have those conversations. Listen, if you are two older people and you get married and you have adult kids or teenage kids, you have to communicate and collaborate together. How are we going to parent these kids that are not mine, but how can we work together best together as a team together, even though they're not mine, but how can we best work together to navigate these teenagers, that maybe are traumatic because of the divorce, you know what I'm saying? Or feel loyalty to the other spouse. Because sometimes that's what it is. It's a loyalty to the mom or the dad. No, I'm not going to honor him or her because I feel like I'm being disloyal to the divorcee. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right. And then there's also too that even the older kids, even like adults.
Oh yeah,
we have a lot of adult children.
Yes.
And so the blended families are hard no matter what age they are. And
but they're doable through Jesus Christ.
Exactly. You're not trying to be you're trying to be Jesus to everyone. You're trying to be Jesus to them. And sometimes you even you have to step into the role of a dad. You're asking mom for something, and it requires a mutual decision. So you're asking the parent. And when we're married, it's parents. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and allow grace for the people who are going through this or have have things going on in their lives. But what and collaborating together means that you're unified in decisions.
Yes. There you go.
Not just parentally, but anything.
Yes, financially,
anything.
Yeah, ministerially.
I was talking to a couple this weekend, and I want to come at God like this. I want to come at the world like this. I want to come at God like this. I want to be united with my wife. Nothing comes in between me and my wife. But both of us have open hands. Open hands.
Oh yeah.
Open hands. A gas tank won't run on empty, right? But we are coming to God empty so he can fill them.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he's in control of our life, and he's with he's the source.
Right.
We're not the source.
Right.
But we're unified.
Right.
We're collaborating together
to
make the Daltons number one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we make God number one.
Right.
We are number one. God said in order for us to follow, it's God.
That's right.
Spouse.
Yes.
Then everything else.
Yes.
Period.
Yeah.
And Clint Dalton, am very last on that list. You know what I'm saying? Because I have to serve. I have to serve. And if you're willing to serve, you really can't be married because I have to serve her every day. I have to look for ways. I want to look for ways to serve her. I want to look for, just like I look for ways to serve God, right? I'm constantly, I got my ears open, got my eyes open. I've got this quiet. You feel what I'm telling you? Like sometimes you need to stop talking. Less thinking, less listen. I mean, more to stop talking, more thinking, more listening.
Yeah. And you cannot collaborate if you're a control freak. You have to relinquish control. You have to trust that God gave you your spouse and that whatever decisions that are made, that we're working together as a team. And you have to think about in the mindset of collaboration, how is this going to benefit the kingdom? How is this going to benefit God? And how is this going to benefit our marriage? How is this decision going to benefit our future? So in collaborating, we have to look at all of those things. How is this going to benefit God? Is this going to exalt God? Is this going to glorify God in this collaboration decision? Is this going to benefit our marriage? Is this going to benefit our legacy? Is this going to benefit our future? So some things in collaboration, they're going to require prayer. They're going to require inviting God in the process and the decision making and saying, hey, God, we need your wisdom. We need your direction. We need your guidance because we don't want to make yes, we can collaborate, but the most important person we have to collaborate with in our marriage is God. God has to be the center collaborator. And if God's will is for you guys to start that ministry, start that business, write that book together, start that podcast, then do it, because you're collaborating with Holy Spirit, and he's navigating, and he's going to navigate you. This is what I see in the realm of the spirit. As you collaborate with God and you collaborate with one another, I just see two people on a rocky boat. Right? But God is the God of the rocky boat. He's in the storm with you. That even though you're going to experience storms in your marriage and everything may not go as you thought they were going to go, you can make plans, but at the end of the day, that doesn't mean it's going to go all the way exactly how you thought it's going to go. It's not going to be problem free. It's not going to come without problems. It's not going to come without its challenges. However, if two people are a team, if two people are communicating, if they have a trust, a friendship, a trust, and they're collaborating with God and with each other in that boat, know that God is with you. God is for you. He will carry you through the rocky storms of life, no matter what comes to your front door of your marriage, because you have a collaborating mindset. I'm not going through this by myself.
Right.
He's not going through this by himself. We're going through it as a team. We're together. And just in closing, I just want to say really quickly, we got hit with some we got hit with some very challenging times. And through it all, I continue to remind him, we are going through this together. We are going to come through this on the other side together, because he wasn't accustomed to having a supportive wife. He wasn't accustomed to someone cleaning up his whatever, because he was having issues with his bodily shutting down. And so God had to show him he has a wife who's willing to serve him, that no matter what we're facing, and I say we, not him, not me, we are facing it collaboratively as a team. We are going through the financial struggle. We're going through the cancer diagnosis together. We're going through the loss of our son together. We're going through the loss of mom together. We are going through this together. There's no more you over there crying alone, feeling all alone. We are going through this together.
And with that being said, I was, because it was so close to me, I was taking the hits.
Yeah.
But I never stopped looking at God.
Yeah.
And I encourage you, through the hits, whether your husband, whether your wife,
right, look
at God.
That's right.
Through the hits.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable and it's sure not fair.
Right.
But let me tell you something. If I hadn't had God, during the situation wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
So keep your focus on God.
Yeah. And so we hope that blessed you today. If you want to get involved, I am Dr. Sandra Dalton. I run a transitional housing program for men and women with children. We run a transitional housing program for women and women with children and men. And so if you're interested in being a partner, if you would like to receive a newsletter monthly, there's some information at the end of this video on how you can get involved.
Yes, and we have conversations. We're having a conversation right now. This is the Daltons podcast, but we're doing conversations for men by men, and I'm booking up almost the 2025 season is full. I got a couple spots. I'd love to have you. I would love to have a conversation with you and host just conversation. You know what I'm talking about. Conversations for men by men. There is a video that's coming up. It'll give you the contact information. I'd love to hear from you, and would just love to have you. Y'all be blessed, and the Daltons will see you next time on The Current.